Hi, in this week's video, I'm going to be comparing these two NordicTrack treadmills. On my right, your left, I have the brand new EXP 14i, a more budget-friendly option than this one here, the NordicTrack 2450, which I've been using for coming on for a year now. The Studio Series treadmills are more expensive than the EXP range, and the 2450 is about $1,000 more than the EXP 14i. That's 50% more expensive, so let's find out if it's 50% better. Let's get cracking. Before I talk about their differences, I want to talk about the areas where they are exactly the same. So both of these treadmills run iFit software, which in my experience is just by far the best software when it comes to having an outdoor fitness experience. And by that I mean they both run these guided outdoor fitness classes where you're outdoors in various different locations around the world with different instructors, getting your workout in, and it makes you feel like you're in a really nice immersive experience. When it comes to getting fit, it's another draw. I genuinely believe whichever treadmill you choose, providing you use it of course, you will get equally as fit. When it comes to build quality, both are great machines. The EXP 14i took me a fair bit less time to build than the 2450. When I'd finished building them, I would say the 2450 has a slightly more premium feel to it. However, they both feel really good. Looking at the overall size of these machines, you can see that the 2450 is taller, and these are both about the same distance from the wall, as you can see, and the mats are in the same place. When I step back, you'll notice that the EXP 14i is on the mat, whereas the 2450 hangs off the end of the mat. It is noticeably longer. The EXP 14i is slightly narrower as well. If you're short on space, it's not too obvious here, but the 2450 is slightly wider. However, both of these machines fold up. So in their folded up position, I'll show you, they actually come into the room about the same. So if you wanted to go for the 2450, but you're worried about space, you can see the difference in the height here as well. When it comes to their dimensions folded up, they're not too much different. And after all, we're going to be on these machines, like we're on this machine probably 3 or 4 hours a week. So there's a lot of time where this machine, and you don't hear about this in many reviews, most of the time, the vast majority of the time, they're just sitting idle. And the ability to fold these machines up and get them out of the way, I think is a real plus point for both of them. I'll put a link in the description so you can see the exact dimensions of these machines. But as you can see here, folded up, there's not an awful lot in it when it comes to how much room they take up. This gym is also the size of a UK single garage, and you can see that they both fit in here very easily. Well, this one does seem to come down faster than that one. Screen size is where we start to see a difference, and one thing I've never liked about the EXP 14i is this shiny surround. I don't know if you can see it, compared to the kind of more matte finish around the 2450. But the screen here is noticeably smaller. This is a 14-inch screen. You can see that I've got enough here for my recommended workout and also one line of the latest from iFit underneath. If we go to the 2450, you can see that just feels like there's a lot more room there. So I've got the recommended workout, there's a lot more here, and then the lines above are just peeking through. And one of the reasons why I like these two screen sizes for these particular machines is on the 1450, the screen here fills up, the tablet here fills up the whole of this surround. If you looked at the 7i, for instance, it's just quite a lot smaller. The surround is the same size, but the tablet is just smaller. That might be fine for most people, but I just feel like if I was looking at a small image on a large surround, I might feel like I was missing out on something. And it's the same for the 2450. As you can see, the tablet fills the whole surround here. On the smaller versions of this, particularly the 1250, you might find that you wish you had more screen for the surround size. With the EXP 14i, the screen pivots back and forwards like this, and you also get a tablet holder along here if you wanted to put a tablet on here and just do a manual workout, for instance, and perhaps watch Netflix at the same time. On the 2450, there's no option for a tablet and not really anywhere to put one if you wanted to try and put one on here. The rotation on here though is better. So it pivots backwards and forwards, but it will also turn 180 degrees in either direction, giving you a full 360-degree view of the screen. And that can be handy if you wanted to do, say, yoga or strength training off the treadmill and you didn't have enough room to stand behind it. Personally though, I've never used the treadmills for anything other than running. The reason being is if I wanted to do a yoga workout, for instance, and as I've mentioned before, one of the best things about iFit is where they do their workouts. It's so much more engaging and immersive than just in a studio. They do have studio workouts, but I much prefer these ones. And if you've got an Apple TV or an Amazon Fire Stick or anything like that, then you can just use the app to show their workouts on a television, or you can use a tablet or an iPhone, for example. So I've got both treadmills running now, so you can see the difference in the workouts when you're actually doing them. Both of them look great when you're working out. The reason the treadmill belt is running is because these are, you can't have the screens on without the belts running. I feel like the 2450 is more immersive when you're using them. You can just hear them auto-adjusting, which is another feature which I love about these treadmills. So as the incline changes throughout this workout, you'll hear the treadmills going up and down. You'll also hear the speed changing along with the auto-adjustment of the intensity of these workouts. It's a fantastic feature. You can turn it on and off. You can adjust it to suit you as well. When I switch between these two treadmills, I'm fine on either. I would say that it's a bit like going to the cinema. So you know when you go and see a film and you realise that you're not on screen 1, you're actually on screen 6, and you know that screen 6 is smaller than screen 1, but by the time you've eaten all your sweets before the film starts and got through the trailers, you're just kind of in it. It doesn't make any difference to how well you enjoy that film. And it's the same with these two screens. Yes, this is more immersive, but when I switch between the two, I really enjoy using this treadmill almost as much as I enjoy using this treadmill. So both of these treadmills, both of the tablets on these treadmills are equally as good to use. I can't tell any difference in speed and performance on them. In fact, as I mentioned before, and what you can perhaps see here by Kelsey's orange jacket, is I actually think the contrast is better on the 14i. I'm not sure if the glass is different or it's a different sort of tablet design, but what do you think? Let me know in the comments. And if you're thinking about buying either of these treadmills, I'll put a link in the description and that will take you to the best price on NordicTrack's website, and you can compare the differences between the two even more. And that link also helps support the channel, which is greatly appreciated. So thanks very much. When it comes to motor power, the EXP 14i has a 3 continuous horsepower motor and the 2450 has a 3.6 continuous horsepower motor, which is 20% more powerful. I would say as a casual runner, I generally run at between 4.5 and 6 miles an hour, probably for about 30 to 45 minutes at a time. And I can't tell the difference between the two motors. I feel like if you're a casual runner, these motors will have more in them than you've got. They certainly do than I've got. My wife runs faster and for longer. She probably averages 6 to 7 miles an hour on her runs, and she runs for maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and she can't tell the difference either. So unless you're running like really fast or for long distances, or you're a particularly heavy user maybe, I think either motor will be just fine for you. Both treadmills have the same 12 mile an hour or 19 kilometers an hour top speed, and they both incline to 12. And one area where you will notice a difference is with the incline motors. And the reason I say that is because the incline motor on the 14i is noticeably louder and slower than the 2450, and that you do feel that when you're doing a workout. So when the instructor goes up a hill, this will be slower to react, and you will just about hear it over your headphones. Let me just take this to 4. Okay, and let me show you the same on the 2450. So hopefully you could hear that. This was a lot quieter and a lot quicker doing the same thing. So when I'm actually using this treadmills, I don't overly notice the difference, but I do notice it. So I can't really hear that incline motor over my headphones when I'm running, but I can with this one. In addition to that, the 2450 actually declines to -3, which if you've not used a treadmill that can decline before, you probably won't notice a difference. But when you're running down a hill, it does add a little bit more to the workout, and you're having to use a whole different set of muscles when it comes to balancing and also propelling yourself. So if that's important to you, then although both of these incline to 12, this one only goes back down to 0, and this one goes back down to -3. Both treadmills have a 20-inch wide running belt, but this one is 55 inches long and this one is 60 inches long. So if you've got a longer stride, you might notice a difference between the two. It doesn't really make any difference to me, but you can see it is noticeably longer. There's also a difference in comfort when it comes to running. So one of the things I really like about NordicTrack treadmills is that they're very comfortable to run on. I've got very sensitive legs. They are always, I'm not going to tell you what I call them, but they're always looking to speak to the manager. And if I use a hard treadmill or run outside, no matter how much I warm up or cool down, I will have an issue with my legs afterwards. With both of these, a 5-minute warm up is all I need, plus each workout has a small warm up built into it as well. I would score the EXP 14i an 8 out of 10. It is very comfortable. However, I would give the 2450 a really solid 9 out of 10. Overall, I would be genuinely happy with either of these treadmills. They both run the same software. You'll get equally as fit using either. This one is better, but is it 50% better? I would say not. But generally, when you get to a certain price point, when it comes to improvements, they're kind of incremental, aren't they? So you pay quite a lot for incremental improvements. If I had to keep one, it would be the 2450, because I've been using it for nearly a year, and out of every treadmill I've ever used, this is my favorite one. Followed by this one. I do really like this one, it's just I slightly prefer this one. At the start of this video, I talked about a wild card, and that's maybe the sweet spot between the two of these treadmills. So if your budget is closer to this treadmill, the EXP 14i, but you want the comfort of the 2450 and you want the slightly bigger treadmill, then have a look at the 1750, because this might be the sweet spot for you. It's got a 14-inch screen like the EXP 14i, but it's got pretty much the same hardware, a slightly less powerful motor than the 2450. It's priced somewhere between these two, and I think it's a fantastic option if you just don't want to stretch to the 2450. As I've mentioned, I'll put a link in the description that will take you to the best price on NordicTrack's website, and it also helps support the channel. I hope you found this video useful, and until next time, see you soon.